Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day for Stupid Talk and Stupid Talk Daily with us. It's gonna, oh, and that's how stupid it is. But anyway, no, we got great stuff with Nina the Mystic. Thank you for coming on, and we're going to be talking about news and stuff. We're going to be talking about 5G and a guest, but apparently we didn't get to that, so we're just going to skip right over that and get right to the news and important things like that because that's what everybody wants to know. Are we being mind controlled, Nina?
Oh yeah, big time. The short
Absolutely.
answer.
Yeah, the short answer. Absolutely. Being mind control. And and that's what we're under. The things that are going on now, as of yesterday, they were kicking off the great war that's about to encompass the world, I would say. And with that they're starting to bomb things and people are talking about stuff. And then from your old neck in the woods up that away. I know it's not Norway, but Sweden's right next to there, and they told their people, "Get ready for the big war. 218 years of peace, all gone. We're gonna go
That
to
is
war.
so
Prepare."
weird. Like I grew up in Norway, and Sweden's always been neutral. Like what the
Mm,
heck happened there?
yeah.
Like I guess NATO. They decided to sign up with NATO, and that's it. No more neutral. No more talking about mind control. No more. You making up your own mind as to what you want to do as a country. You're just going to go along with whatever NATO says now. Like,
Hmm.
wow, I can't believe that they did that, to be honest. Like, what is going on? This is really topsy-turvy kind of. It's just weird, so surreal for me to see that Sweden, and the Swedes have never been to war. Like those guys don't know how to do it. Like, I don't even know how much military they have. Like, like at least Norway, we've had that and we've kind of prepared for it. Our guys get drafted automatically when they're 18. You got to spend a year, go through, the basic training. Everybody has to do it, and Norway's ready. But Sweden, I don't think they are. They never have, right? They never had
Hmm.
to. So this is going to be very, very interesting for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It makes you wonder what the heck is going on with all of that because it is it's just out of the ordinary. Is that a
Yeah.
sign that it's going to affect the rest of us when the peacefulest country is saying we're ready for war? That's what worries me.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
let's
it's so
get
much
on
them
to
saying. Yeah, it's not as much them saying that they're ready. It's NATO saying that they're ready, or EU, or whatever it is, right? Um,
uh,
yeah, like this whole thing's got to go. The EU is, it was established by the elite to control the world, right? We got to get rid of all of this. All this has got to go. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well, people got to wake up before they're going to get rid of things.
yeah. Well, I think
They'll
a lot
go
of people
to
are
get
now.
along. Yeah,
Yeah,
they gotta wake up because of hard times. People won't wake up if things are good. They'll go on with their little lives, and life will be hunky dory until the day it comes knocking at their door, and then they go, "Oh, it's here." Now
I was going to
I'm
say.
worried.
Yeah, going back to your question, is that going to affect the rest of the world? Well, whoever's member of NATO, or EU or whatever, will be affected, and I do believe our countries are. Are they
Hmm.
not?
Yeah.
So, yeah, expect to get the call. Like, like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is crazy. Like, I just
It
can't believe
is.
it. They was it EU or no UK blasted over to Yemen yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. They were blasting Yemen. If I can look that up
Yeah.
here, if I can find
Well,
it. I
you
got an
you
article on it
Yeah, I know.
somewhere.
I saw that. And so if you're blasting something, you expect to get blasted back. So
Yes.
UK, I mean, prepare, man. I don't know it's a little too late now, to be honest. So I've been saying this for years. So if you haven't prepared already, it's almost too late because those bombs are coming your way now. Especially those in the UK now, then, and in Europe, period, right? So, and there's a cold front all over the place right now.
Yeah.
So
You're getting ahead of me here. I'm trying to get the picture up of Yemen.
Okay.
Because who knows where Yemen is? Nobody.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there you go. I mean, do you know where Yemen is? It's just this little
Yeah,
itty
it's the
bitty
Middle
country.
East.
Yeah,
Middle
that's
East, of course. They're always bombing down there because they got a lot of resources that we want.
Yemen attacked. It's in funny writing. Yemen airspace has suddenly become evacuated and commercial no-fly zone has been issued and keep commercial flights out of Yemen airspace. Flight radar shows the airspace of Yemen empty. Yes, there it is, Yemen. Um, so there's Ethiopia down here. If they'll get your bearings, I don't know what some of these countries, the Gulf of Aden, people don't. This is Saudi Arabia up here, I think, or something. I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but it's just this little itty bitty country, that nobody really talks about. But here's the big thing: if you can see where this is, do you know
Mhm.
this? This is a canal. This is a waterway. When you're in the root of a waterway, that's where the things get shipped on
Yes.
and barges, and they go through this area. If you're having
Mhm.
a war here, anything out of here like oil and stuff
That's
doesn't
right.
move. And that means all our prices will go up. Prices of
It's
oil
going
go.
to affect us. Yes, it's
Yes,
going, and that's what people care about. They don't care about the Middle East, you know. Oh,
yeah,
well, I don't see it, I don't feel it. Who cares, right? But this will affect all of us when it comes to the shipping and yeah. I mean, I was talking the other day to the vacuum salesman in town. We only got one, obviously. I'm one of the few that actually bought like a really good quality vacuum back 30 years ago, and I still have it. All I have to
yeah.
do is maintain it a little bit. It's a TriStar. It's the best freaking machine. Well, according to him, they don't make them as good as they used to. But anyways, now I lost my train of thought. That's one thing at my
The
age.
vacuum salesman.
Vacuum salesman, yes. Oh,
And
parts. So people will come in with their vacuum, right?
yes,
And all he needs is the part. Well, you can't get the part for like 6 months. Well, people aren't interested in waiting 6 months for their vacuum to get fixed. So they just leave it there and go and buy a new one. So his shop is just like you almost can't walk in. It's so full of vacuums that are just sitting
hmm
there because he can't get a hold of the part. And that's now, before
hmm
this happened.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I'm sure if the vacuums, parts are hard to get a hold of, I'm sure other parts,
hmm
electronic parts, everything is made in China and made over whatever. And if we're, at war somehow with these countries, yeah, we're not going to get any parts. We're not going to get the things that we're used to getting. And yeah, so
yeah. The prices will go up, and yeah, it's not gonna be good. It affects
no,
everybody. It's amazing what a little waterway like this, but this here will connect, the Atlantic with the Pacific and so forth and so on. Let's go on with the article here. It says Iran, Syria, and pro-Iranian Iranian groups in Iraq have declared their unconditional support for Yemen. So here, these guys are supporting Yemen as we're bombing them. Saudi Arabia has not yet stated its position. Well, I hope that they don't turn against us. Don't we buy like our oil from them? But it has brought its armed forces into a state of combat readiness. The Houthis have stated earlier that the Saudi Arabia and the UAE and the Qatar provided their airspace for an American attack, then these countries will be considered at war with Yemen. Qatar hosts the U.S. base. The military source in Ashnar Allah states if foreign forces considered attacking Yemen, our forces will open the gates of hell for Western forces in the Red Sea and the region, and neither Washington nor London will be able to extinguish it. Wow, they're they're talking badass stuff.
good,
But
good times coming. Yeah, I was
yeah,
gonna say, like that. This is kind of like part of preparing too. Is getting parts now before it's a crisis. Don't wait until you need that part. Get some extra now. Get a couple, right, so that you have it. So whether it'll be car parts, if you're, get all the parts that you're gonna need, like for tune-ups and just your general stuff. Like, if it's that hard to get a hold of, right?
yeah,
And same with your vacuum or, like, I don't know, if you own a house, there's probably a lot of things that you need. And or could need. Why wait until you need it and then find out, oh shoot, it's going to take 6 months or maybe not even available at all. So that's another way of preparing for things, is to get the stuff now while it's available. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so true. Listen to this bulletin. Houthis in Yemen have commenced large-scale missile launches in numerous areas as yet unknown targets. This seems to be the pre-planned attack pattern to be used if the West attacked Yemen. In recent past, Yemen made clear it would wipe out Saudi Aramco oil processing facilities to cripple Saudi oil supply to the world if attacked by the West. That there is enough to make everybody skittish, I tell you. Yeah, so like I said, this is enough to make anybody weird. What, they attack Saudi Arabia? That's where most of the world. That's what keeps the world's oil afloat, is Saudi Arabia. They start
I
blowing
know.
up the oil. What do?
That's why everybody's messing around down that area, because they have all these resources that we want. Between the oil and the gold and whatever else they got going down there, that they want it. And so that's why they're doing this. But luckily here in Canada, we do have a lot of oil. Mind you, we ship it out, right, and then buy it back. Like, I don't understand the thinking behind that, but there's no reason why oil should be expensive here, because we got our own oil. Keep it in country, right? Each country just keep our own oil, and I don't understand, but there's no reason why there should be a shortage here, for sure.
No reason why there should be a shortage. You got it. Okay. Well, either way, we're going to talk about some things that affect us. How about this big weather thing going on? The weather, the cold snap. Yes.
Yeah.
It's here it is. Let's see what we got to see on this thing. Cold snap. Weatherman visibly shaken after thunder snow strikes while he's reporting live from winter snowstorm. They even named it Jerry. As every U.S. citizen is hit by weather warning, Midwest and Northeast prepare for severe storm, and temperatures in Montana plunge to low as 48 below. Holy cow! Snow thunder. Have you ever been in a snow thunderstorm?
I don't remember. I grew up in Norway, so who knows, right? I seen pretty much everything, but I guess I don't dare complain.
Well, if you had, you'll never forget it.
Yeah, no, I probably haven't. I don't remember it. So
yeah.
Do you have a
if you
footage
were in
for
a
that? Can we see
snowstorm,
that?
and
Is there a little video for that?
No.
No. Oh, the weatherman?
No video.
Oh,
maybe it is.
I want to see that. What that looks like.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I gotta. There he is. Yep. Clicked on that.
I gotta
see.
Stop sharing and then come back. Yes, I gotta get some video or
okay.
Volume.
Yeah, maybe bring it up.
But you got to go back in and share it.
Sorry, I caught you on the spot there, but yeah, it's cold here too, and like normally, oh, there you go.
I saw it. I saw it even with a light in my face. Holy smoke.
Okay, go back a little bit. Go back again. Let's see that again.
We may get a little lull. It almost, was that lightning? Yes. That was lightning. We just had it. That was it. I saw it. I saw it even with a light in my face. Holy smoke.
And that's exactly. He's kind of comical about it.
Yeah.
He's right. That's exactly it is. When I was in Wisconsin, we had snow thunder and snow. We had I witnessed it, lightning, and I thought I'm dreaming, But it was pretty good. It was pretty funny,
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's getting cold and cold, guys. I mean,
Clicking
they
down
say
to
it's
this.
global warming,
Um,
but honestly, because I can tell here, I've been in the same spot here for over 10 years. And when I first moved in here and all the years prior to that, I was always able to keep plants alive over winter, just put it up close to the wall, right? And it would be still good in the spring. Well, a few years ago,
yeah.
that's no longer. And even my evergreen died last year because getting these minus 14s, we've never
Uh-huh.
had that before here on the West Coast. So, yeah,
Hmm.
it's definitely getting colder.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is. But look at by this here. It is cold. I mean, the East Coast is really getting it. Blue. I know blue is cold.
Mhm.
Because we're up here in North Dakota, Montana, the eastern half of Montana. This year is usually same weather, and it's cold. And it's even dropping down to Texas area. I mean, look at that. It drops to Texas. There ain't too many hot spots. Maybe if you're in the panhandle of Texas here, or maybe down in the tip of Florida, a little bit on the California coast, you're doing okay. But other than that, you're going to be cold, people. You're
Yes.
cold.
So I
So,
really feel like I know there's some issues in Europe, right? Like we don't really notice as much here, but Europe, with the whole oil crisis there, they're doing all kinds of things. And actually, Survivor Lily is a channel that you guys should watch. And I
yeah,
just posted up on Gilded actually, the one that she posted up today, because she'll give you the a rundown of what's happening in Europe. And you're not going to get that on the mainstream news, guys. Okay. Because Europe, and we were saying this last year, oh boy, I hope it doesn't get cold in Europe next winter because they're going to suffer. A lot of people are going to freeze to death over there. And sure enough, we
yeah.
do have a cold snap this year. And so I really feel for those people over there who may not have any heat. So, keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, guys. Like not everybody, has the heat, and never mind the farmers who are going
That's
on
true.
strike
Yeah,
or, all this because they're trying to take away all the farms, guys. Okay. Which means no food, which means that we got to rely on their food, their laboratory made food. Okay. And that's
yeah,
all that's going to be available soon. So,
that is true. That is
unless we
true.
stand up and do something, right? So make sure you guys are hitting that like, share this out so that other people can hear this stuff and hopefully get a heads up on what's going on, and be able to hopefully do something about it.
Well, yep.
So,
Here's the headline. Here's the headline. Hurricane force blizzard could hit Northeast next week. Weather forecaster warns. And
ooh,
weather forecast for next week on the ominous picture of the Mid-Atlantic Northeast is Ryan Mao, a meteorologist and former NOAA chief scientist. You got to listen to him. He's a scientist. Is closely monitoring the development of a winter storm next Tuesday, monitoring 7-day models of the development of a massive hurricane force blizzard for the Northeast next Tuesday and extreme cold Arctic air blend in it. Mao wrote on social media platform X, and as you can see, the models here he's got predicted. It looks like it's going to be a bad cold one. Arctic wind, they're going to get all that cold weather we're getting right now. It's going to blow over that way.
mm-hmm,
But anyhow, the point is, what I wanted to say, I love to study history, right?
mm-hmm,
And in studying all this history, I've noticed that um, the climate it comes and goes in cycles. Like the Northeast, for instance, for many years they've had really good weather where they barely get any snow, they barely get any cold. It's warm there. It's 50 degrees during New Year's or something. And sure, yeah, it gets down in the 20s maybe for a little while, but boom, it snaps back and they got warm weather again. But if you really look back in history, it talks about, we'll just go with General George Washington crossing the Delaware and how his troops were camped out. And it was so cold and snowy that they were freezing to death. And then they crossed the frozen Delaware River, ice covered. And, they weren't doing that in good weather. They were doing that in snow and cold conditions. It talks about how cold it was. Now, have we all suddenly forgotten that weather can actually happen? That it can actually get cold? And now it is, and we're going, oh my gosh, this is out of the ordinary. No, this is the way it was. And now we've been led to believe that it's supposed to be, 50 degrees in the winter. Am I wrong? Or am I just, remembering badly?
Sorry, I just have to go and actually put on my little space heater here because it's cold in here. Ooh, yeah. What was the point to that again? Is it getting colder or?
Well, no. I mean, you can see in history, like, you read the stories of General George Washington. He's crossing the Delaware, and he's, it's ice and snow, and his troops are freezing. Well, for many years, Delaware hasn't had much of snow at all. They don't get much cold. It's been nice. The weather in on the East Coast is usually pretty nice. They don't get a lot of bad weather.
Are you talking in the summer here, or are you talking in the winter?
In the winter, it doesn't get like that.
Cold back east. It's always cold, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, it hasn't been for many years. But then, okay. The thing is here we get a few they get a few snowstorms, and all of a sudden the world is ending because, oh my gosh, they're going to get some bad weather. They're going to have temperatures, look at this. Yeah. He says, we're going to have 32 degrees to 35, nor'easter, assuming that stays in place. 10 days, another winter storm. Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, I mean, if these people aren't used to having it that cold, they probably don't have the clothes or the whatever, right, to weather that, so that, again, that goes back to preparing. Prepare for that. Expect all of a sudden it to be cold. Make sure you have alternative heating sources and a warm winter jacket, and you got all the things that we need. Even if you don't use it this year or even next year, you might need it in the future. And with the supply chain, breaking down, we might not be able to get a hold of these things 2 years from now, right? So this is all preparedness, being prepared for the cold, being prepared for being without food or water for a while, whatever, right? Be prepared for everything, guys. You can't be over prepared, honestly.
No.
So here, like we're not used to it. So, I was just thinking today, like our building is generated by a boiler with hot water. We got it in floor heating with a big boiler. If that boiler broke down right now, we wouldn't have any heat here.
Yeah.
In our building, so this is why I invested in a little space heater that I actually use in my bedroom, because my bedroom is cooler than the rest of the house. And I could crank it up so that it would get hot in here, but then it gets too hot on the other side. So I'd rather just have that, and I can also bring that in to my car if I had to, or whatever, just so that you have that extra, right? And so, but I bet you that most people in here haven't thought about investing in a space heater or anything like that. So if that boiler breaks down, they might freeze to death in here. Like, it's cold. It's a concrete building. It's cold in here. Like, so.
Yeah. It does. Yeah. It does get cold. Let's see. And we're going to move on to the mind control part. Look at that. It's government's plan to criminalize your thoughts. It's a global cabal.
Well, this is the thing. If they put a chip in your brain or whatever, where they're listening to your thoughts and whatever, they're going to use that against you for sure. So that is one of the reasons why you don't want that. Never mind your privacy and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to get it. Yeah, I've seen this where you got credit scores at work. So if you start thinking about your coworker over there, because you're not supposed to have, in office romances and whatever. But if so if you start eyeing your coworker over there, they'll know, because he can tell you thoughts, So yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
If
that crazy?
Damn, I might get arrested if they know all my thoughts. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my gosh, yeah. And
so this is not a good thing, right? That's one thing that we should be able to have, freedom of our own thoughts, at least. Like
Exactly. Let's see what they say on all of this. Here it says the documents are investigated. Here, a whistleblower reveals new details on how the U.S. censorship industrial complex, a network of more than 100 government agencies, private firms, academia, nonprofits, policies, and criminalizes wrongthink. Explosive revelations. The new catch of documents refers to it is a CTIL files, which refers to the Cyber Threat Intelligence League, were released by 3 journalists in late November 2023. The whistleblower has come forward with an explosive new trove of documents rivaling or exceeding the Twitter files, Facebook files, and scale and importance. The trio wrote about the Substack to public. They describe the activities of an anti-disinformation group called the Cyber Threat Intelligence League, or CTIL, that officially began as a volunteer project of data scientists and defense intelligence veterans whose tactics over time appear to have been absorbed into multiple official projects, including those of the Department of Homeland Security. And of course, it goes on. The digital censorship programs were created, and the various roles of the military, intelligence agencies, civil society organizations, and commercial media. They also describe the methods and techniques used, such as the creation and use of sock puppet accounts to spy on and steer online discussions and promulgate desired narratives, discrediting of dissenters and international weaponization of financial industry against the same. What do you say all that before we move on with it?
Yeah, no, this is very scary, like, and this is where this whole Neuralink and all these things are heading towards. They're going to advertise it to you as in, and show you the benefits of it, and I'm sure there is, a lot of benefits. Everything is going to be a lot quicker because, they'll know before you even know what you need or want or whatever, you know what I mean? But then you got the nefarious side of it where they are going to know everything about you and use it against you, So, no, we got to resist that whole thing.
Yeah, this has been going on since 20. It says new document catch reveal in 2019, and then in 2020. I mean, this has been going on for many, many, many years. So this is nothing new. We're just finally catching up with what's going on.
Oh yeah, they've been doing things, we didn't notice that, right? We weren't awake then. That's the thing. Like, but now that we are waking up, a lot of people are waking up now, and starting to see what they have been up to. I mean, I'm sure that even back in the 40s, they were already starting. Like, everything actually started in the 40s. If you notice, if you go back, they really decided then that, okay, this is it. This is the end times. We got one more generation, which is 70 years. And I do believe it started in 48 when Israel became a nation. That's sort of the sign. And they gave us those clues in the Bible. And that's why it's important to kind of read up on that stuff. It is important to know it. In 48, they became a nation. And they said, once that happens, one generation. And I was counting, isn't that going to be then in 28? Is that going to be 70 years or is that 80 years? So 78, I'm not sure.
48, 58, 68, 78. Yeah, that's about 70 years or so. Yeah.
So this is it, guys. Okay, this is the what they've been grooming us for. So they started in the 40s, and as you can tell, if you notice the 50s, right, all of a sudden we got post-war. Everything is great. The boomers were born right into the most prosperous kind of time of history that we've ever seen. Like, honestly, the boomers were like, had it the best generation, as far as economy goes, just now all of a sudden we got the food and everything that we didn't have, post-war and all this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, they didn't realize that they were this is the end, guys. Like, like, you can see how it's gone down from there, right? And now we gaslight them. The millennials don't like the boomers now because they had all the stuff and they made all the money on the real estate and, Yeah, they had it good. Like it was a good
Yeah.
run for them. Like, but that, we can't continue with that. It was just impossible, right? But this was all planned out in the 40s, I do believe. I mean, it was planned out thousands of years ago, but they kickstarted the actual end times in the 40s for one generation, and then that's it. So I do believe that by 28, things aren't going to look so good, But hey, but you know what? We're not there yet. That's the thing. If we can wake up more people before then, and to resist and have the guts, right? Have the balls to actually stand up. That's the thing. Like, it's one thing to be awake and all this stuff, but if you are not going to do anything, it's kind of like almost like the guest we had. I don't know who this guest is, but they do a lot of talking, online, when they're behind their little computer. But when it comes to actually coming on camera and speaking out or doing things, sending letters to the government or whatever it is that you want to do, there's a lot of things you can do, right? Then they chicken out. Most people are chickens, they don't want to be the one that's standing up and, making the, making the noise, right? Because that's what we need to do. We need to make a lot of freaking noise, guys. So that when 28 comes, we're not going to be there where they want us to be. We're going to be in a better place, so yeah.
Well said. But this is what's talking is happening there in your neck of the woods in Canada. The documents show that a weaponization of the financial sector orientated with the CTIL, which expressly sought to get banks to cut off financial services to individuals who organize rallies or events. That already happened up by there. But didn't them people go and protest, and then all of their bank accounts got shut down?
So Trudeau, so take that as a warning, okay? You saw what happened here, how fast Trudeau, all of a sudden, boom, emergency, declared an emergency. Emergency. Can you believe it? Over the most peaceful demonstration you've ever seen. I mean, these people, like, they had it all set up for the kids. It was like the most peaceful thing you've ever seen. Because you didn't see that on the news. You would only see that on alternative news. So make sure that you are signing up for all these channels or boots on the ground. And that's what I was doing. These guys were going live, showing us what was happening in real time, and all that kind of stuff. It was the most peaceful thing ever. Yet here's our prime minister declaring a national emergency and shutting down people's accounts, bank accounts, for those who were donating money to them, like for gas and everything. They needed gas to have the trucks running so they won't freeze to death. Because we did this right in the middle of winter, right? So, So if you don't think that could happen in your country, you're sadly mistaken. And again, you need to be prepared for this stuff. So that now that we've gone all digital, and I was actually listening to Survivor Lily, going back to that, she talks about cash. Over there now in Austria or wherever she lives, the government is actually telling people, oh, you don't need cash. Don't bother, keeping cash at home because you're not going to make any interest on that. Well, hello, newsflash, we're not making any interest in the banks now. Anyhow, like my high interest bank account, there's no interest there. It's gone down to like almost zero, like you don't even notice it. So no, what you guys need to do is go over to cash, and that's what I've done. I've switched over all my banking so that I have no more debits. So I'm paying like the smallest amount that you can possibly pay for a banking fee, because I don't want to be paying the banks anything, and I don't use my debit card, because that's why you're paying these banking fees, is so that you have the luxury of tap this and tap that. Okay, stop the tapping. Get rid of your cards. Okay, well, have the card for, like say when I'm paying for my insurance or something, when it's, $1,000. Yeah, I'll interact that. Okay, so I might use my debit card once in the blue moon. So I'll have it, but as soon as my money's in the bank, I go in there and I only leave in there when I need my bills. I take everything out. I pay everything with cash. That way, so now when you look at my statement, you're not going to see every purchase that I've done. It's none of their business, as to where you spent it, how much you spent on it, how often you're spending on it. You know what I mean? It's none of the business. This is another way of them tracking everything you're doing, guys. You're not thinking about every time you tap, they know what you did, when you did it. So go over to cash while we're able to, because pretty soon they're planning on taking that away. and we're going over to CBDC, which is essential digital currency. Okay. And again, once we're on that, if you are on their list of, wrong think, they'll just shut you down.
Yeah.
You won't be able to purchase anything. And they're also going to make it so that you can't save. That's another thing. They don't want you saving for things like we used to do, because that's another thing you can do with cash. You can save. They don't know how much you've saved. They don't like that. They don't know how much you got. And then if you're really smart and you have a little extra cash, you go and buy those precious metals, obviously, and stash that away. That's what you're supposed to be doing, right? Just keep what you kind of need. The rest should go into precious metals. Buy a safe, tuck that away. And guess what? They don't know anything about that. They can't tax you on it. They can't take it from you. And, this is what we need to do now. So wake up, guys. I know it's really inconvenient with this tap this and tap that. And I've noticed that in the lineup when I'm there with my cash, because the lady that's there, she's not used to the cash anymore, right? She can't count back or anything, and then, oh shit, I don't have enough. And so it takes that extra minute. And I can see the faces on the people behind me. They're all, oh God, fucking lady with the cash again, And I openly, when I see this happening, I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're all going back to cash now. Stick it to the man, and I just go on like this while this is happening, so they realize why I'm doing this. Okay, I'm not just some old lady that didn't convert over to the tap. I mean, I used to do that too. I was caught up in that. It's very convenient when you're working and whatever, you're not thinking about it. But now that I have the time to make the changes, and we all have the time, we got to make the time. That's the thing, and not just talk the talk, but actually walk the walk. So that we can try to make some changes here. And if everybody converted over the cash right now, they'll have a really hard time implementing this CBDC thing that's coming. So just keep that in mind, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Totally right. Okay, let's go over some of these things, how they're trying to do this. Because I think you're right. People have to take a... I'll put it this way: you got to take over your own responsibility for what's coming.
Yeah.
Here, in the physical dimension, I'll try to read this. It's a real small print. Where the information environment overlaps with the physical world, and that's what you're talking. The information of the card numbers versus the cash is the physical world. Information systems and networks, and again, that's the debit card and your credit cards versus the cash that you have on hand, your communications. Key characteristics, computers and communication systems and supporting infrastructures. That means your cell phone, your internet, all those things that are feeding you information. Okay, then it goes to informational dimension. These people have sat down and thought about this really good, I tell you. Where information is collected, processed, stored, disassembled or disseminated, displayed, and protected. So all your information like that you have online, like your credit card stuff, your passwords, your pictures, your contact information. Oh my gosh. And it goes on. The dual nature information itself and the medium. I don't really know what they're talking about here. Links, physical and cognitive dimensions. Your cognitive abilities, and it links all of this stuff to you and how you think and perceive things. Key characteristics: information, content, and flow. Information quality. Now, we've seen information quality where, oh God, that's fake news. Or has anybody ever sent you links and then there you look at them and you go, okay, I'm going to look that up, and you look it up and you find out it's so fake or it's from years ago or whatever. And like,
unfortunately, I know, and we're all guilty of that, and it's, and this is, ways of kind of discrediting people who are trying to help, right? Oh, yeah. Well, you know what I mean? And then they just won't believe it. And then you just won't even, you know what I mean? So unfortunately, we all get caught up in this,
Well, and they do, but that's because people see stuff, they think it, and then, oh, well, it's on TikTok, it must be real. Like, my buddy sent me something for like it's raining in Saudi Arabia so much that the camels are having to swim, and yada yada yada, and it's flooding in the desert. And I looked it up, and I'm like, man, that was only in a little area, and that was in November. It ain't happening right now. But he was thinking, oh my gosh, the desert is flooding, and it's like everything's backwards. And I'm like, dude, it was just a big rainstorm. It got rained on, and when you haven't had rain for a long time, the water doesn't soak in the ground. It sits on top of the ground. So even though you got sand, it's not soaking in fast enough. That's the problem. Okay, let's go down to cognitive dimension, where human decision making takes place. Dimension of intelligible such as morale, unit cohesion, public opinion, situational awareness. Wow, that blows your mind. It's like so they're taking over your cognitive dimension. That means your public opinion. Have you noticed the way the news is projecting things to sway your opinion into an area where you might not have actually believed anything, but now you're like, oh, well, if everybody else is believing that it's got to be true. Like they're trying to do with President Trump. They're trying to put him in jail. They're telling everybody that Biden's a good guy, and he'd never do anything wrong. His son never did anything wrong. Don't look at those videotapes.
Oh, never mind that cocaine in the White House. Oh, that's just,
That's right. Oh, yeah. Whatever happened with that? It was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Same with Trudeau. They found cocaine on his plane. Like that's what these guys are doing. Okay, these are our leaders. Okay, they're kid diddlers and cocaine users. Okay, that's what they do. Like it's just unbelievable, and these are running our countries and putting the finger up in if we do anything, right? They're 10 times worse than we are.
Well, they got money to do that. It's like,
I guess they do. Yeah.
Let's see what else is there. Dimension of okay, we did that part. Key characteristics, perceptions, emotions. That's a good one. Emotions, awareness, and understanding. So, it's like saying, they talk about, say, like climate change. And then they say, well, don't you believe in climate change? Are you racist? Or is there something wrong with you that you hate little children because you don't believe in climate change? You want all the animals to die and the oceans to be polluted and the whales to all, come on, Greta Thunberg.
It's funny because you go through the different decades, really. Every decade, there's something else they want us to be scared of. And there's a long list. There's some memes out there, right, that have it all kind of broken down for you. But every decade there's, it was just a few, years ago. Was it 2003 or somewhere in there? I guess that's a couple of decades now. Where, what's his face there? Gore, Al Gore,
yeah.
Right? Oh my God, we're going to do this, and this is all going to be within 10 years. None of that happened.
The inventor of the internet.
Prior to that too, there was, it's going to be this, and there's always something for us to be fearful of. I mean, you got to remember that they feed on our fears, right? And this is the way they can control us. If we think that, oh my gosh, the world's going to be gone in 10 years if we don't do this is how it's talking about mind control. This is how they're doing it, and they have been doing it, right? And we fall for it every freaking time because, we think that they must know because they're the government. Oh, it's the news. It must be true, and this is how it was, and this is how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to rely on our leaders and politicians and the news media. But turns out, no, those are the people that you should not be listening to. They are not here for our highest and the best, and they've been steering us in the wrong direction the whole time. Ever since the 40s, guys. Remember? Everything started in the 40s. That's what I was getting at. So the 50s was great, right? And then the 60s came around. All of a sudden, the young people started doing the whole love and hippie movement came in, and they started doing some psychedelics, and all of a sudden they're all loving, peaceful. Well, they don't want that. They don't want people who are loving and peaceful and waking up. They're seeing things. They're starting to wake up. This is why they gaslit them with the whole Manson thing. That was all bullshit as well. Manson didn't do any of the things that he was accused of. It was actually I'm not even going to say the agency, 3-letter agency that was behind that, to gaslight the hippie movement so that we just, they're just dirty hippies. Don't listen to them. Don't be going and doing psychedelics because that's bad for you. It turns out psychedelics is actually really healthy in microdosing and doing it in a moderate way, right? You got to be in the balance here, obviously. But so that's what happened there, right? In the 60s, got shot down, sure enough, and once you start looking back at everything they've done, it's just unbelievable. Once you start seeing the dots and you start putting the pieces together, like pretty much every major thing that's happened to us in history was all man-made, was all made up. Yeah. Like even going back to Titanic, that didn't happen the way they said. Okay, there was a whole agenda behind that. Like these things have been going on for a long time, and that's back to 1913 when the tax came in. The Federal Reserve came in 3 years later. So it all started really with that stuff back in the early 1900s, and then in the 40s. They decide, okay, this is it. This is the last generation. And now we're going to groom them to become the way that it's told in the Bible. And it says in the Bible, in the end days, parents will be against the children will be against the parents. You'll be against your mother-in-law. Everybody will be against each other. Well, did you just see what happened with the Rona here? What happened? Families broke up. Everybody's mad at each other. Nobody's agreeing. Like, it's horrible. People got divorced over the choice of whether to take the medication or not. Okay, so see how the Bible is, yes, the Bible does have a lot of gems in it because they wrote it. They're bringing it out now. This is the end times. Okay, it is all happening. And so so if they can have us fighting, and so if we're not fighting amongst ourselves internally in our families, they want us to turn on, whether it's your race, your sexuality. Oh, they'll get us fighting over everything, and if you're not fighting, you're probably taking fentanyl and dying off of that. Like they have you every which way. They'll get you wherever you're into, they're going to get you there one way or another. So you got to be mindful of what you're doing and see things for what they are.
Yeah. So back with the Titanic, and this is really interesting. And we could do probably a whole show on there, but we're going to just touch on it. Famous people died on the Titanic. And these were some of the
not just famous people. Yeah, okay, you're gonna get to it. Certain
famous
people.
And richest people. They were controllers of all the money. John Jacob Astor. He was a famous guy, real richest man. Oh, he was also the richest man aboard the ship when his body was recovered. He had $2,440 on him. That would have been like. And at that time, that'd be like 10 grand today or 15 grand.
More than that. I mean, that's a lot of money today to have on your pocket. But so what happened there is JP Morgan and all these guys that started a Federal Reserve and whatever, they all got them to go on board there. And then in the last minute, they pulled out because they knew what they were doing. And these people were against the Federal Reserve, you see. They didn't want to go along with what JP Morgan and those guys wanted to do. So they thought, no, we got to have to get rid of these people so that we can implement what we want. And that's what they did. And last minute, if you go back in history, you'll see Morgan just bailing out last minute, a few of them, and
JP Morgan, he got out of, he canceled his trip, didn't go. And here's Molly Brown. She was famous. Benjamin Guggenheim. Famous not for only having an mistress, but he was also going to the first class smoking room, and went to Captain Strauss. Just the names alone. Strauss and Macy, co-owner of Macy's department store, which was one of the biggest stores. Thomas Andrew for being a designer of the Titanic. Here, Lady Duff Gordon, famous for being top fashion model. Sure, she was rich too. Rose, famer of lipo. She was. I
What a
don't know.
brilliant idea! Just getting rid of the competition all at once. All of
Yep.
them all at once, all the elite at the time, they're all going on this great new adventure, the boat that's unsinkable, guys. Let's everybody go, and oh man, like these people need to be accountable for what they've done. That's that,
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable once you start looking. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. JP Morgan and the Titanic. Yeah, that is something that he didn't get on the ship. It says here, no, he didn't. He
was the one that got them all to go on there in the first place, right? So if you look back, you can see it's very obvious.
Of course, it's on Reuters. It says corrected. Fact check: JP Morgan did not sink the Titanic.
Yeah. Well, who told you that? The government?
Because,
what? Yeah.
Yeah, because so many people think that he was in on this. See, look at it says here. Corrected fact: JP Morgan did not sink the Titanic to push forward plans for the U.S. Federal Reserve. It was Wyland shared
right.
the
So
meme
obviously
that
they know that a lot of people are starting to put those pieces together, and so they got to come out with, oh yeah, no, that we fact checked that, and it's in the science. It's almost kind of like that, It's like no.
But that's the thing, is that it's such a conspiracy theory, and they have to, at some point people are starting to think and wake up and say, oh yeah, this is there might be something to that. There might be something to it. Gee, that's just a shame that all the rich people were on the Titanic and they all died, and he was the only one that he just backed out at the last minute and didn't get to go.
Yeah.
And now he invested and he runs the world. Gee.
Yeah. Isn't
no
that a shame? What
theory.
a coincidence. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the leaders of the world got on the same plane, but Trudeau decided he had to go back forgot his hat, and they took off without him and they crashed. And now Trudeau runs the world. But it's only conspiracy theory.
Well, and the Federal Reserve has, right? And then they implemented the tax. That's another crime. Okay, there's a lot of good things, I guess, that we have because of it, like roads and whatever. But, there's a lot of waste, guys. And I hear now that they're in Canada. Of course, Canada's always first. Okay, we're like, I don't know. Let's try it out in Canada first and see if the people actually will fall for this. So what they're going to do here in Canada, I think this back east. It's not quite here on the West Coast. In Toronto, I think. In Toronto, somewhere in there. They're going to up the property taxes now because we have so many migrants coming in, which they have allowed. They just open up the border. Come on in, everybody. Right? Oh, no, it's not going to cost the taxpayers. Oh, don't worry about it. No, come on in. Yeah, they're yanking up the property tax now. And the property tax is already so high because of the market is so high, right? It's all valued on the market thingy that so what's going to happen now is that a lot of people are going to have to walk away from their homes. They're just not going to be able to anymore. And yet these immigrants, so they just come on in. You got a free house, you got free food, everything's free here. Come on in. And that's a whole nother agenda too, as to why it's not just because of that, of getting more tax money. It's also, and they've also start shutting down schools. So the kids have to do learning by computer now, shut down schools so that the immigrants can go and live in there because they have nowhere to put them. So that's another thing. I was just watching that on the news yesterday. All these parents are all upset that the kids, they don't want the kids at home. They got to go out to their 2-3 jobs a day so they can afford this house. They can't have the kids home alone. So there's so many different things are happening now because of the immigration. Never mind the end goal. What they have with this is that there's going to be something that's going to set them off, and there's going to be riots in the streets, and there's going to be civil unrest. Basically, is what's going to happen with these people. Now, I'm not sure exactly what card they're going to pull to get them that angry and that excited. But we'll see, because that's why they're here.
There's There's your favorite guy up there.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Trudeau government pushing WHO to include climate change in pandemic treaty.
Right. Yeah. So all the other lockdowns are coming. It's all going to be because of the climate. They're doing it for your best interest, people. Otherwise, we're going to die from, pick whatever you want from the climate. You know, it could be whatever they're planning on doing. And you got to remember that the governments and whatever, they know how to control the weather. Okay. Weather control, that's been going on for a long time. If you go and look back, you look that up. You know, which again started out great. You know, it's great to be able to generate some rain clouds over a drought area. You know, that's a wonderful technology. And that's how it starts. Everything starts out good. The guy that invents it doesn't do it for bad. He invented something good, but the governments and those people, they always twist it around to, hey, how can we use this for our own benefit, right? And they never keep, it's never for our benefits. It's always for theirs. And so that's what they're doing. And who knows, this Arctic chill that's here right now, maybe that's even man-made. Who knows?
You never know. But here's the thing. They're going to use, regardless if it's natural or unnatural, they're going to use it in the propaganda to make you believe it one way or the other. Like the other day, they were saying that, well, the warming of the earth creates all these cold temperatures. And I'm thinking, so because it's so cold, it was created by hot weather? Makes no sense. Here it says Trudeau's government is lobbying to include climate change in the WHO's definition of a pandemic emergency. So who could say, it's like right now, this could be a pandemic emergency. That's because it's cold. It could be a pandemic emergency because it rained. There's a thunderstorm or a tornado. It's a pandemic emergency. Yeah. I mean, who's gonna say, oh, okay, it's over the line, we can call it a pandemic now, because it's weather. Weather can change, and the weather that affects me doesn't normally necessarily mean it affects the guy that's 200 miles away. I could have a tornado here, and the guy 200 miles away has got nothing. But do we lock him down too? Because,
well, if it serves them, they will, right? So that they're gonna create all kinds of lockdowns because of weather or other things. And unfortunately, they know how to set off earthquakes, and they know how to do a lot of things, guys. I know it sounds a little far-fetched, but they actually are. Like New Zealand, Christchurch thing there, that wasn't natural. Okay. So they'll do whatever they don't care if a few however many people die. That's just an acceptable, sacrifice as far as they're concerned. And that's what she said too, with all those kids that they bought. It was an acceptable, I can't remember the word that she said.
Acceptable losses.
Wow, acceptable loss. Yeah. Acceptable loss. Because it doesn't affect them, right? They don't give a shit about us, and so a few thousand people, whatever, they don't care,
That's right. Well, we're getting to be an hour. I didn't expect we'd go a whole hour, but holy mackerel. We're going to wrap it up in an hour because people lose interest after an hour. Remember, the cognitive ability of the people nowadays is real low. But anyway,
and that's getting worse and worse with that whole TikTok. You guys got to get off the TikTok, guys. It's destroying your mind, and it's also a Chinese spy thing. Okay, this is how they can, find out everything about you, what you like, what you click on, what you react to. They know all of that, and guess what? That will be used against you later. Okay, so get off of these things. Get back to cash. Let's get back to the way things should be. Okay, get our privacy back. And get control of our lives, So, yeah.
That's right. And with that, everybody, we're going to sign off. Remember to watch Stupid Talk and Stupid Talk Daily and the non-religious truth channel. Absolutely, right?
Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell, like and share. Get this stuff out there, guys. Okay, it's not just for us on our channels. We do this for a reason, okay? And so the more people we can wake up, the better our future is going to be. So if nothing else, if you don't want to be on camera, you don't want to be going demonstrating outside your government thing, you don't want to be doing any of that, can you at least share a video? You know what I mean? Like, It's not much to ask, because it
Right.
is going to be in your own best interest in the future. So, yeah.
Yep. But anyway, with all of that said, we'll join us again soon. We will be back. We will be back. Check out our channels. I'll be on what, today's Friday. We'll be on the Saturday night. Saturday night, join me live. And you got Sunday
live on the other channel, which is Nina the Mystic. You know, I know a lot of people on my channel are watching this. You know, might not agree with my mystic part of it, but you know, we got to set aside some of our things now, and just, you know, we're all here in it together, and we're all different. We're all into different things, so you know, just set that aside. But yeah, I will be getting into the connection between the Anunnaki and the Elohim. So it's going to be a very good show. So make sure you subscribe to the Nina the Mystic, and as well as the Non-Religious Truth channel. And it's going to be a good time.
It is. It is. With that, remember, go out and make your own news and be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love you all. Peace, everybody.